Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, publishers of Big Blend magazines and travelers on the Love Your Parks tour. Every third Thursday, it is Trust Talk time with Lea Brovedani. She is known as the Trust Architect, and she's one of our contributors and experts on Big Blend Radio, obviously every third Thursday, and she is the author of Trust Me, Restore Belief and Confidence in an Uncertain World, and Trusted, Secret Lessons from an Inspired Leader. She is one of the top thought leaders on trust, which is known by Trust Across America lead. This is like the trust organization, right?
Yeah, it's one of them. I think that, I'm trying to investigate to see what other ones, but really, I think that Trust Across America, Trust Around the World is the one that I recognize. And they've got names like Stephen Covey Jr. and like all of the big names in trust are part of the Trust Across America. Yeah.
I just think,
Nice.
We've been chatting over the last few years about trust, and I still go back to the very first time you were on the show with your book, but Trust Me was the first time, and thinking, wow, there's a world, there's a whole culture of trust in leadership, which is really interesting. And today we're talking about lies. Sweet little lies, those little white lies. And you have this
Little
great
white
blog post
lies.
about it, talking about all these examples of lies that really are made, we lie not to hurt people, but like you say, if you have never lied, you're full of it. Like that's a lie.
You're a liar if you say you've never
Yeah,
lied.
you're a liar.
Exactly. Everybody's lied. I mean, there's things, there's sometimes you really have to, in life, there's some real serious situations you need to get out of, or,
Yeah.
for safety,
Mhm.
or crossing borders into countries, things like that.
Hello.
Well, you never know. But it really gets down to, I think, even in the work culture, that we'll say something, oh, you look great in that dress. Meantime, you're looking at them going, you shouldn't get up there and do a presentation in that, so it's, how do we balance this kind of thing? Because we shouldn't be doing it, but we do it. And so it seems that from your blog and talking with you over the years and your books, that we almost have to create a different language in communication.
But there's a huge difference around integrity. So, a lie that is to save someone's feelings or that it won't wound them, and there's not a big consequence. So that's part of it too, is what is the outcome? And if the outcome of the white lie is that the person feels better, but there's nothing as far as, and then deciding, and we've talked about this, is it a fact, an opinion, or a belief? So if someone says, does this dress make me look fat?
Oh, here we go.
The answer is not, well, the dress doesn't. So
The dress is just hanging there.
yeah.
It's just your
Sorry,
wraparound.
sweetheart. So it's one of those things that that's an opinion. And so if you say to them, your opinion is, well, yeah, it really does. But from a perspective of having this relationship intact, you give another opinion that helps them. And so you say, no, the dress absolutely does not make you look fat. You don't add to it. You were already fat before you put on the dress. So,
In fact, now you're wearing a giant muumuu. Even Mrs. Roper would be
Or
embarrassed.
how about, hey, the dress actually covers up your fat.
Oh boy, here we go.
no.
Here we go. But yeah, what do you do? Like in an office culture, someone comes in, maybe they've got this new dress. Like, what would you say to do? Do you go with the easy lie, or do you say, I prefer your green one? That makes
I like your green dress better.
Or you ask them the question, oh wow, well, how do you feel in it?
Ah.
And then it's no longer about your opinion. You're finding out a little bit more information. So, you're curious and say, oh, I can see that this is something that makes you feel great. And so that is not a lie. You are observing something. So there's lots of ways of of, like we're talking
Reflecting.
about two different things. That's a big difference from, did you earn such and such last year, and did you claim it on your income tax?
Oh, everybody
you're-
lies on that. Okay.
Yeah, if you say absolutely not, I claimed everything, but there is a consequence to it,
Mhm.
then that has a different impact
Mhm.
than saying to someone, wow, how do you feel in the dress? And honestly, I think everybody can see there's a difference in
Mhm.
the lies that we tell during the day. I
Mm.
did some comical things, when I wrote that article, because I was just in one of those moods where, oh my God, if I hear any more bad news, I'm going to explode. So I did this light piece on, lies. So like things like, it's not you, it's me. No, it's you. It's
No,
definitely
you-
It's definitely.
no. I'm so, and when you break up with someone, sorry, I can't be what you want me to be.
Oh, that's the worst. That is just the worst. I'm sorry.
Wow,
No.
I you look like you were really comfortable delivering that line, Lisa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially on
And I do it
Christmas.
on holidays, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, whatever, Thanksgiving, whatever holiday it is, it
Oh,
somehow just comes
boy.
right out. Because then I think, oh, I have to go through that. It's not worth it. I can't be what you want me to be. Nope.
One
Not
time,
birthing
one
your
of her,
babies.
she broke up with
Okay,
her
it's
boyfriend
enough.
on Christmas,
It's
and his
okay.
mother came to the
No, we don't
door
need to
with
tell this
him,
story. This is why.
and I had
break
to
up.
take care of it.
Because you don't want to have to go to the meal. And so I'd rather break up than go through something that is going to just be horrific, like a really not a fun event, And so if you don't have the love, and if you're not invested in the relationship, you shouldn't go through that, and you should cut the cord.
Yeah,
now.
but you don't know whether or not you're going to be invested in the relationship until you get into the
Until you
relationship.
try.
Right,
You know?
exactly. So I figured that out pretty quick, and that was enough.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And champagne glasses with our name on it was not going to keep me in that relationship.
Oh, that was the worst.
See, that was not good. And
Yeah.
and the dog wanted to bite him. So that was
And
enough.
that was a clue right there.
Okay,
There.
like if your dog doesn't like the person, I'm sorry, I can accept the fact that not everybody loves dogs. And like that's like they're probably not in my inner circle, but if my dog didn't like someone, that would be a huge red flag
That's
for
a
me.
problem.
That's
That's
a
a problem.
big flag.
That's a
big
problem.
flag.
Because
Mhm.
dogs are cool, man. They're are loving and trusting. And when a dog starts to growl, then then there's a problem.
There's a problem.
But there is this,
Can I show my dog to everybody? Just
Oh
for
yeah,
the-
Booker, show Booker,
Okay.
everybody. Sorry for those who are just on audio, but look at Booker. He's got his little bed.
He's so
very,
cute.
very,
Yeah.
very sweet Booker. Very cute. But this is something, when you talk about trust and lies, it would have been a lie for me to continue in that holiday dinner and go and pretend that why would I put like a family through, oh, he's got a new girlfriend, when you're like, nah, this isn't working. So to me, that would have been a complete lie.
And
And
I've already got the champagne glasses that we'll use to toast at our wedding.
I know. See, I
run
think
for the hills.
the champagne glasses with names engraved was far too soon.
No,
Way too soon. And that
when,
was a big red flag.
well, when
right
someone
there.
also tells you when you need to be home by, that is a sign. See, this is becoming something we shouldn't even be
I
talking
didn't
about
do
on the
that.
air. What are we doing? We're not.
Yeah.
This is what.
It's telling the truth.
But that's where you say, listen, I'm not what you want me to be, because I am not.
And-
I'm not this girlfriend who's going to cook you dinner by 4 o'clock every afternoon and be where you want me to be and be the family. No, that's obviously it wasn't a match. But so I am.
Anybody out there want to date Lisa now?
No, don't know. But anyway, so it's a very to me, it's like, no, you want this, and that's not who I am. So I think that's not a lie. That's a pretty
Yeah.
nice
No,
way
that's
of
just
saying
being
we're
upfront and
not
honest.
compatible, you know?
And then as far as lies, when someone says something and it's really awful, and and there's been times I have to say that I've done that. Sometimes I think that my humor, and very Canadian humor, is
Oh, yeah.
sometimes being
love it.
sarcastic, or we think it's, and so you say the opposite almost of what the person is saying, because you're playing off of that. And there's been times when I've said something and it's fallen flat, and you recognize from the person's face that you've hurt their feelings. The absolutely wrong thing to do is to say, just kidding, which is a lie. It's true. But if you see that you've hurt somebody, then the right response is that I can see that joke fell flat and it wasn't funny. I'm so sorry. It's.
Now I'm going to laugh. I don't know what's wrong with me, but now I want to laugh. But you have to take ownership of what you say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's even just in the business climate, when, we look at what's going on in the world, and I know we've talked about it, but it's worth talking about again. Companies are not able to deliver like they used to for real reasons, shipping issues and workforce issues. And, so to me, it's not, don't lie. And even as a consumer, there's a consumer that goes in and says, say 10 people told me this, and it's a lie. Like if it's, you know what I mean? It's like, I see that happening a lot in business. Like, say we did a podcast and it was fine. The sound was fine. And then somebody will say, I couldn't hear your podcast and 10 of my friends couldn't. There was something wrong.
They always do
what I
that.
mean? It couldn't be like, hey, I checked this. Am I doing something wrong on my end on my computer to listen or whatever? 10 of my friends couldn't do it. And that is a
baloney.
People start this adding on the add-on lie.
Yeah.
In fact, we should start a book on
what's the name for that?
Lies. Yeah.
What's the name of that kind of, because there's people I
That
know.
That means that they
as soon as I get the email, I know here comes something to
they
ignore.
didn't check themselves first.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
decided to back themselves up because they're lazy. It's the lazy add-on.
It might be
Seinfeld
worthwhile, and you've heard me talk about this, but for anyone who's listening, and I talk about facts, opinions, or beliefs, and how to tell the difference between lies. And so for those who are kind of listening to this for the first time, a fact is something that can be verified by a number of people. So for example, if I say I'm sitting in a chair, then that's a fact that could be checked out. You can see it's a chair, and you can see it, I'm sitting on it, that's a fact. An opinion might be, this is the most perfect chair in the world, and that's my opinion. But it's just an opinion, not everyone would share it. A belief might be, usually a belief, you're getting into either philosophical or religious beliefs. The example that I used is around astronauts. So a fact is that as of 2013, there was 247 astronauts around the world. And if I don't have that number exactly correct, forgive me, but you can check on the NASA site. And out of that, 57 were women. So that's a fact. They give you the names of all of them. An opinion would be that the women are discriminated against because there was only 57. And that would be an opinion. It could be true, it maybe isn't true. You'd have to do a lot more research. It's just something. A belief would be that women should never try and get into space because they should be staying at home and raising the family.
What are you trying to do? Make us
bad
mad
opinion. We don't like that opinion.
That could be a belief. It could be a religious belief. So when someone says, well, I was just telling them the truth, a lot of time they're giving an opinion.
That's not the truth. That's
well, I think this is why we have so much division right now, is people are actually arguing over what they believe is the truth.
Yeah, or an opinion that they have. Yeah, absolutely.
This opinion, and it's become so opinionated, and how many people really know the facts? I mean, all the political divide we have in this country and around the world. I mean, we could go to England and, have a party with Boris, but I mean,
I'm sorry, he's busy partying already.
But he's busy. That's right. But I mean, but that is a fact. Let's go there. That was a fact. He threw a party. right? So they had the actual facts and you couldn't lie about it, but whatever. Anyway, I'm
He
not in
attempted
England. I
to.
shouldn't, but it was just, sorry, it's funny. But
It was funny.
this, just those small beliefs and not going by fact. Like I was saying, okay, somebody said, oh, they couldn't hear the podcast. And by the way, this has not happened. I'm just making it up. But that, 10 people, 10 of my friends, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Well, now if they ever ask me something again or say something, I'm going to totally, my
Ignore.
red flag comes up and says, okay, I don't trust this person. And I think it's
Mhm.
the same way for a business. If a business lies, if I turn around and say,
Mhm.
maybe there was something wrong and I lie about it, and there's things that happen and I lie about it, that we're going to lose an audience. We're going to lose clients,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
to me, these little white lies or little, easy things build distrust immediately in a
Yeah.
business place.
Yeah.
And it's something
And
to rather be honest,
interesting. Yeah, I don't have like truth telling as part of my trust model. And
Right.
I absolutely want people to know it is not okay to lie.
Mm.
But what my research has shown me is that for some people, they don't care. They will trust somebody even when you can show that this person lies all the time. And Nancy and Lisa, you're not allowed to give the example of the person who's the biggest liar on the planet because there are people who trust them.
Oh, come on.
That person.
Oh, come on.
Oh, don't start. Do not. We have to
Took
all
all the
behave.
fun out of it.
I already went to England and that was a no-no. That was a no-no. But
Well, there
but
are
come on, Eve, you're a party.
lookalikes.
That was, but this, the people will follow through because it's a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And they don't want to have their world, their bubble shaken if they like somebody for
Well,
something.
But
Or
if you,
it really reinforces their own beliefs. So, for a lot of people, you hear this term confirmation bias. And so whatever you want to believe, you can go on the internet, and as far-fetched as that belief might be, you will find proof.
Yeah.
And for
Not
those
real
who are just listening to as an audio, I just did air quotes. So
Yes.
you will find proof that
Mm.
what you want to believe,
it's
other
true.
people will believe it is true.
Yeah.
That's called
It's-
confirmation bias.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think
sometimes
being
you have,
honest humanizes businesses and it humanizes people by being honest about a mistake. And the thing
Yeah.
I can't stand is people who absolutely just BS and then continue on with it instead of just, if they screw up. I mean, I think most lies come out of mistakes.
Yeah, I
or
do
screw
too.
up.
Yeah.
And instead of just going, oh, I screwed up all the time, every single day. That's just, I'm a human being. I screw
Yeah.
up. And a
Mm.
lot of times that leads me to something good,
Yeah.
and that's that.
like
And
a better way of doing things.
yeah, or a whole new
Mhm.
discovery. It's like a detour in travel. A lot of time those roadblocks and detours lead you to some place you never knew about. So it's you learn more by acknowledging mistakes or
Right. Yeah.
failures,
Mhm.
whatever. Failure leads to success, it's one of those things. But we get to this point of, especially in business, never say never say you're sorry, never admit when you're wrong. I don't know what culture started, where that came from, but there is that culture of
I do.
hide your mistake. Don't go there. I know where you're going. I know where you're going. Don't you go there,
Okay.
Nancy.
I
You be
won't.
good. You be good. But
Okay.
if you don't, but there is that, it's an old school culture of hide your flaws, hide your mistakes. Now, sometimes if it's something that's not visual or visible to clients, you don't need to go around, hey, I made a mistake. You just
Yeah,
shut up and move on.
absolutely.
Just fix it.
And honestly, if you're constantly apologizing, then that creates distrust. And so,
Absolutely.
like if you're constantly apologizing, then for God's sakes,
Yeah.
stop it and learn something, get some more education, do what you need to do so you quit
Mm.
making those stupid mistakes. If
Yeah.
if
All
you're
right, ma'am.
saying
Yes,
something,
ma'am.
if you're saying something all the time, I'm talking about, like, I
Yeah.
screw up on a regular basis, but if I kept making the same mistake and apologizing for it all the time, pretty soon, as soon as I started saying, I'm sorry, and I meet people who are apologists, and
Mm.
like,
That's
There-
no, it's a really bad habit, that, and it's especially
It's
women. We do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't attend. Okay, it's like, all right, we pet sit as we travel. And a lot of times we're getting asked to go and do a repeat sit, and we can't because our schedule is full. And I always catch myself saying, I'm sorry, unfortunately, we can't. But the fact is, we're already at a sit that we do respect. We can't be everywhere at once. I
Yeah,
just say, oh, sorry, our schedule, see, I'm already doing it. Sorry, but
Well,
unfortunately,
that's
but it's
okay.
really not. It's a no,
That's
because there's
polite.
yeah, the sorry, I wish we could, but it's a
But
very
I mean,
tender thing because you start to apologize like, sorry, we can't do this date. Sorry, we can't do that. Not even just on the
yeah.
pet sitting, on scheduling.
That
It's
and
a
that's
weird thing.
different than there was a woman. I was teaching a course after I'd spoken at a conference, and they had me do a breakout. And there was a woman in the workshop, and I labeled her an apologist.
mm,
And she had passed on some information about some new rules that were coming down because of her organization. And one of the people got really upset.
oh,
And she said, should I go apologize to them? And I went, okay, so what would you be apologizing for? And she said, well, they were really upset. And I went, it has nothing to do with you. They were
yeah.
upset because they didn't like the rule. Did you lie about it? Were you completely, and she was the sweetest person. Were you cruel when you were telling them this because you knew it would change? And she was going, oh no, I'd never do that. And I said, so what are you apologizing for?
Yeah.
And she said, because they felt bad. Let people own their own feelings.
Well, you could ask the person that seemed, what I just said to you seemed to upset you. Why? Could you tell me why? So you
Yeah,
could learn
yeah,
from it.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
apologizing for someone else's feelings, I
Yeah.
think, like you can be empathetic and say, I see that this upsets you.
Mm.
And then even say, I'm sorry that it upsets you, which is very different from saying, I take responsibility for this upset that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Because
think where
some
mine comes
people are
from,
upset all the time.
in
Yeah.
South Africa, it's a saying. It's like instead of saying excuse me, sorry. So if you're walking, in going in the theater or something, and you have to go, between people in the seat to get to your seat, instead of going excuse me, you'd go sorry, 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 and it
I
becomes
think
a
that's kind
habit.
of British. I think that's
It's
kind of
maybe a
British.
British thing, but and
Yeah.
I've had to
Mm.
really be conscious about it because otherwise I do become this apologist, whatever you're calling me, an apologist.
Apologist.
An
Yeah.
apologist.
Apologist.
I feel like I'm going to go, become an apostle just now or something. But anyway, off.
But that's different. That's different
Yeah.
from saying, turning to the person, and if they were upset because you walked in front of them,
Yeah.
can you see, like, it's a subtle difference, and hopefully
Yeah.
I'm explaining myself
Yeah.
well enough. But
Yeah, you are. It just, there's just, you start to get into a habit. So then you use it on things that you shouldn't be using it, is my thing. And I've
Yeah.
caught myself, and I think it's a female thing too. Like I really
I
do
think
think
it is too.
women tend to apologize for things they shouldn't. And it doesn't come from a bad place. But if you're saying it so often, it does come to that level of what you're saying. If you're always apologizing, then people are going, are you always doing something wrong?
No,
you're
and I
building
think
a
they think,
persona.
I think they would assume that you don't mean it. You just say it as an excuse almost. Sorry. And
But if you're
continue with
always
the
full of
same
excuses,
behavior.
you
If you
don't
don't
have
change,
yeah.
if you don't change the behavior you're apologizing for, then you're really just BSing people.
I think I feel like I'm in therapy now. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I'm not who you want me to be.
I've
Sorry.
been in business meetings where, you have really powerful men and women in this business meeting, and men stand up and give their opinion or give their viewpoint.
Mhm.
And then I've seen women who are brilliant stand up and saying, I'm sorry, but can I just say this?
Mhm.
Stop
Just
that and just get up
stop
and
it.
say it.
That's
Say
exactly
it.
what I'm saying. Yeah, we
Yeah.
go, oh, excuse me, sorry.
Well,
And,
that's
and you almost start to cower in your
Yeah.
body
No, but
language.
that's almost setting it up. It's a setup, that kind of, I'm sorry, but can I already
Let me worm
says,
my way
now
in.
I'm going to smack you one.
Yeah.
It's a setup and smack.
Yeah.
That's a sneak attack.
It's a sneak attack.
Okay, so any other, let's go to the list of things. I love this. We should I really would like to start a little booklet on this,
Okay.
we've got, but I think the lie thing, I just want our culture to kind of be a little bit better about it. It's because I do see that we do it in a very, it's I think, again, the apology thing is
Yeah.
coming from a nurture, same thing as these little white lies, and when we go into a business part of it, it can really, really hurt. Now, there's also times at work where someone boldly out-faced lies about something to take
Really?
over. We always talk about this where someone will say, oh, I wrote the report. Meantime, they didn't, somebody else did, kind of thing. And I wonder about it now with the way office cultures, people are working part-time from home. Is there, maybe there's not as much room because of the way emails are and things can be tracked a little bit better. Do you think there's as much room to lie or more room to lie by not being together in person as much?
So much of it depends on the hierarchy within the office. So I think for someone at the very top, I think it's easier in some regards for them to take credit of someone underneath them who's taken it. Part of that, have you watched Ted Lasso yet?
No, but we've heard we need to.
Okay. There's a scene where, and I won't give it away because if you haven't seen it, it's just brilliant. But he, as a leader, you do take responsibility for some of the creations that the people underneath you make because you are presenting it. So as a coach, you're telling your players where they're supposed to move. You don't take that moment like to preface it. Oh, and by the way, that when we came up with this play, it was, this underling coach who created this. It was this person who did it. You have to, as a leader, take all of the advice and everything, you filter it, and then you make the best choices and you present it as your own. That's quite different than stealing someone's idea and labeling it as your own. So it's a subtle difference, but you have to be, if someone said, wow, that's brilliant, where did it come from? You can say, I've got a great team of people and I'll give credit to A, B, C, and D. So you can kind of see it's different from, I've seen people who plagiarize.
Yes.
And that is a lie.
That's
they take an idea and they say, this is mine. That's very different from being a leader and having all of this input and then presenting it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why Google is so strict about duplicate content, about how SEO is done. I mean, it used to be that, I think back to when websites were first being created and how Google, I think even it was right at the beginning of Google, people would hide words in the background of the website. And they would put sex and things like that because that was, porn is one of the top things. And so that was the way your website would come up, but it had no integrity to what the site was about.
Right.
And we watched this whole thing happen in Google. All the changes that are annoying about what Google does is all about integrity and people not stealing other people's articles and photos and things like that. And it
And
happens
to make sure
on
you
social
get the
media.
information
Yeah,
that you want
but
when you want it.
You've got to look at where actually, it's like when you asked about an image I'd posted on our Facebook group. Where did that come from? Well, this is exactly where it came from. So it not just, hey, I stole it. I have one friend who thought she was helping a friend, but wasn't. He took a piece of artwork that an artist had put up on her site and went, oh, look, isn't this really pretty? And put it on her page on Facebook. And the artist got really mad. She's like, I created that. It's not up to you to download it and upload it, even though if you said, you've got to ask permission. So I think the lying thing, people are getting caught. You can't steal online anymore. You will get caught. People are.
And I'm pretty careful because I call myself the trust architect. I am careful because I've made mistakes. Yeah. So if I'm using any kind of photo, I go to one of the sites where I buy it. Yeah. So then I've got the license. So it costs it's not that much when you consider, $65 maybe to use a picture that you put into your book. And then you've got the rights and you can show if anybody comes and says, where did you get this? You can say, I actually purchased it. It's not original. I purchased it from this site for this amount and I've got the license.
the same thing as music and what we do on podcasts. You purchase, plans to do it, and it's there is that. I think the lying thing, you will get caught. You will get
Yes.
caught online, no matter what. And even Google will nail you out because they do all the algorithms and all the checking. They have all the computery stuff that does that. So if you wrote the article first and someone else steals it, they're not going to let it go up there in SEO as much. And you
Yeah.
see
And
people
I've
do it
had
all the
that.
time.
Years and years ago, I had, I was checking on an article and I don't know how it came up, but another website came up with my article and the person had put it that they had written it.
Ooh,
And I
that's
wrote them and
bad.
I said, I'm so pleased that you found value in my article. And by all means, if you want to use it, you may, but you have to give me credit and show that I wrote it or take it down.
Right.
Because I couldn't say, or I will sue you because I went.
Who's going to go? Yeah. But here it is. It's eventually
Well, you
people will
could.
find out and they will
Yeah.
not look at that website as a resource to go to because they're lying. So you
Yeah.
are taking away people trusting you as a source.
Yeah,
It's like where,
exactly.
like media now where, someone will just take a snippet of what some famous person has said and put it up there and go, this is what they said and meant. And that's not the truth. They're using it out of context. And I think that is another form of lying, is when things get taken out of context because they can, but you're going to just breed distrust again,
Yeah.
So, wow,
And it's getting
this goes
harder.
far.
Yeah, it's getting harder to recognize lies. It is,
It really, it's,
Well, people are getting sneakier
yeah,
because with the internet and computers, it is easier to be fake.
Yeah.
You can build a whole profile and
But
then
you will get
until
nailed.
somebody comes along and says, excuse me, that's not true. This is not true. It could be there and people will assume that it's true.
Okay. Just for fun though, what's the biggest lie you've ever told?
I remember when I was a kid, I went around. Oh, I got in, like, I lied up. Well, I did good things about, like, I would just walk out of school and just not be there and just, act like I was there. But one of the lies that I could just immediately came is I went and I stole our vitamins,
God,
family
that's right.
vitamins, and they're orange and they look like M&Ms. And this was in England. And they were
Mhm.
over there, they have Smarties, not M&Ms. And
Smarties.
I went to school
Oh
and I
man.
sold them. That's a little entrepreneur. I sold them as Smarties. And then I laughed when kids like went, ew, this is gross. And I really got into like huge
Mhm.
trouble because number one, it's a medicinal thing that kids shouldn't be taking. Maybe they shouldn't. The principal got really mad. And of course, Nancy got a call from there and I had to write apology letters, but I still thought it was funny. But but if you think about it and you put this in a business thing, it's just the same kind of thing. Oh, if people make something and then they like, oh, it's all organic, but it's not. How many in advertising, how many PR campaigns have had to be done because a product has gone all natural? Well, yeah, but you've also
Except
got
for.
pesticide, that whole BS kind of lingo. It's a very similar thing, but I learned my lesson. Trust me.
Mhm.
I never did that again. But later I sold signatures because I can copy anyone's signature.
Oh gosh, you did. I think I spent more time in the headmaster's office than most parents.
I can
was
write
always
really good
something.
letters. So I think I went through a good stage of I could write sick notes, really good
Yes.
excuses,
Mhm.
and copy parents' signatures and their handwriting. And so I was really good. Now everyone's going to trust me.
Yeah, you know what? We probably could have been sisters.
Did you do
And
the
then you
same
would have
thing?
had twice. Yeah, because I got expelled from school for skipping. But see, I wasn't as bright as you because I would write the sick notes, but
Yes.
then I would get whatever friend was sitting next to me to write the signature so it didn't look the same as mine. And so when I was called into the vice principal's office, he had the stack of notes.
Oh.
And I kind of looked at them and I smiled and I had a smart aleck mouth. And I looked at him and I went, well, that wasn't very bright of me, was it? I should have gotten the same person to write all the signatures. And he went, my maiden name is Burkett. He said, Miss Burkett, I don't think you're seeing the seriousness of this. I went, look at it is a beautiful day outside. You know that at the end of your half-hour lecture that you're primed to give me, you're going to expel me. So let's cut the lecture. I'm just going to leave. Both of us will have a good day.
Me.
Bad.
Well, no, but she was telling the truth. There it is. And you didn't go, I'm just kidding at the end because you'd already crossed that line.
Oh yeah. And he just looked at me and he was saying, Miss Margaret, we have to call your parents. I went, seriously, smart aleck mouth. I just turned and I was laughing and said, you do what you have to do, and left the school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My parents were not really impressed with me.
No, I bet.
Yeah.
So we did a good lie though. We took plants and gave them to a friend in California and went through the inspection thing. And we had roses right there in the window.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because we were
They
this part
could
of us
see
packing
them.
up with the tour, all our plants that were potted, we went to give a friend. And they're like, do you have any plants or fruit?
They could look
And I
right
just
in the
did that,
car.
and they were right there.
They're
and
right
they just let
there.
us drive right
And
through.
they looked in and were like, no. I mean, they're looking at it and they put
You were like the little kid taking a bite of the chocolate bar and the mother saying, did you steal the chocolate? And the
Yeah, and
child
you're like,
went,
Remember when you
no.
caught me smoking?
Oh,
And I had a
gosh.
cigarette
She
behind
put
my
the
back and there's
cigarette
smoke
behind
coming
her
up.
back and smoke is coming out. And I'm thinking you're going to set your butt on fire just now, because she's hiding it behind her school uniform. No, I'm not smoking. I'm like, and
So I
seriously.
just want to tell you that Martin Seligman, who was kind of, he talks about learned optimism, said that only a big pessimist like him can realistically write about optimism. So that's not a paraphrase, but basically that's his premise. So I just want everyone listening to know that only people who told lies like Lisa and I can talk about the truth now, because we learned our lesson. Oh my God, even as I said that, I kind of gagged a little, threw up a little bit in my mouth.
My brother and I used to sneak out the bedroom window and go walk down Sunset Strip because it wasn't that far away and it was too much fun.
Oh
and
my God, yes.
My parents would go ballistic and like, where were you? We're like, oh no, just in the backyard looking at the pond, there's tadpoles. And they're like, oh, well, just keep your nature thing to daytime hours. We're like, okay.
Well, I think when you're kids, and listen, there is a good thing about lying. It boosts imagination and creativity and confidence. To pull
You
off
could
a
write
good
a book,
lie,
yes.
you need to be confident. So, and so then I say, if you're really good at that, then you should go into fiction writing, screenwriting.
Well,
So I think what I'm hearing is that if the consequence doesn't have, like we're looking at what the impact is of the lie. So if it's around creativity and the consequence is that by telling this lie, you've created this new, wonderful, creative endeavor called writing or imagination, then that's okay. But if you're telling a lie and it's a fact that is protecting you from a huge consequence and like there's integrity involved, then don't.
Yeah,
exactly. Is that realistic? What would you add to
I
that?
would say that because really it's going to come back. And, I really can't, like, I'm not good at it. It will sit with me.
Yeah.
You there are
because
times,
you've been taught not to lie.
Yeah, no, because it will sit with you as an adult. That you've lied, and there's a la la la, but I can't even, to me, it's like, okay, go back to the moo because now it is a moo. See, imagination, Mrs. Roper, that is not a good color. I would just go, I prefer this on you, but if you're happy, wear it, wear it with confidence, and it's okay. You may not like it. Like Nancy and I we go through this with the magazine. She'll go, oh, look at this, is so cool. I go, that looks like crap. And really, and it's not the nicest thing. And then she'll do the same thing to me. That's not interesting. I'm like, yes, it is. It's so cool. No, that's crap. And we've got the relationship where we don't have time to go,
Yeah.
la, la, la." We're like, no, that sucks. And then we go, well, why do you have to put it that way? Because we don't have time. Move on. It sucks.
Well,
So-
what normally has to
But I
happen
think
is
there's a
there's a
relationship of
difference in
honesty.
there's a
Yeah.
difference in age. So what appeals to me may not appeal to her,
Mhm.
and vice versa. So, and when you're writing for the public, you're trying to address all ages sometimes, which is not easy, so it just means you have to alter a few things of how it's said to appeal to more people.
Mhm.
So it's more inclusive, and that's not always easy. If you write, that.
So we don't
Yeah.
have room to not disagree on something.
Yeah.
Or to lie about it, to make, oh,
Or to give
you
an
like that
opinion.
image.
Yeah.
You cannot
Yeah.
do that in business. You must have those disagreements because that's what sparks betterment.
Yeah.
It's how you do it. Now, not everyone should walk around going, you suck, not you suck, that sucks, I don't like that, or whatever. There's a better way to do it. But we just have our way of talking, and not
Mhm.
everyone should listen.
Yeah, and you get to a point in a friendship where you
Yeah.
can have those honest conversations. Like it's
Exactly.
almost like this level of relationships.
It's
where
trust.
when you meet somebody,
It's
when
trust.
you first meet somebody and they say something, you'll do a nicety that you probably wouldn't do with someone that you've known all
Mhm.
your life.
Right. I mean, if you sent us something in article, oh, here's an image, I'm not going to turn to you, Lee, and go, that sucks. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I think we're at the level where you could say,
I'd
what
say,
the
"Ah,
heck
now
are
you
you
won't.
thinking?"
that's on the sucky level. I'd probably put it that on the
Mhm.
level of suckiness. It's on its way in. But Nancy and I just go, that sucks. And then she'll go, but why? I like this. And I'm like, no, it sucks. And then if I do something she doesn't like, she goes, that sucks. And and so there is a lot of that all day long. And it's our way of, it goes to the you suck pile. And if we can't, one of us is going to win if we can't get to something that we both agree on. And that's
Yeah.
that. So whoever liked it, if the other person thinks it sucks and doesn't come up with something better or something together, then the sucky thing gets to win.
And when you're writing a book, when you first write,
Oh,
when
yeah.
I wrote Trusted, and the first draft, and I sent it around to some of my friends, and I've got really smart friends, and they were really tactful, but you can read between the lines. So
Mhm.
they would say things like, dialogue is tricky, Lee, which was
Oh, that's
like,
a hit.
that means
That's
that's
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, see,
Yeah,
we would be at a level where you'd go, where I would,
gonna say that
okay,
to
if you said,
Lisa.
wow, that sucks. That's
I'm
no
gonna
one
no, I'm
says
gonna
that
start.
ever.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say that to Lisa from now. That's really tricky, Lisa.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm full of
Dialogue is
tricks.
tricky.
I
Yeah.
know you are.
But no, but actually we had a friend who wrote a book and has done a lot of things in life. So did some interviews. It was fun. And then I read the book and a lot of it was good. And then there was just huge chunks where the character changed gender even. I mean, it just was like, oh, now you
Oh,
got a
that
boy
was
in the
really
car.
funny.
And
The
reading
lady
it-
driving up the hill and came down a man.
I know.
The name Caitlin, sorry.
Yeah, don't, because I'll go off. No,
That was
no,
so
no, it'll
funny.
just
Sorry, no.
don't start me.
Sorry,
Do
I'm
not
sorry.
start me. Do not start me on the bubble butts. But anyway, so
Mm.
sorry, the Kardashian thing. I just, anyway, I had to go and say, look, your book, what you're writing is good. However, you have
Serious.
some issues in this book. And next thing you know, I ended up editing the damn book. So sometimes you should just
Shut up. And now I feel like I have the thing like I want to say, and there's nothing wrong with, like that was supposed to be a joke. And I apologize if anyone was offended.
Oh,
by
God,
just
here we
saying that one
go.
word,
For
but,
why?
Oh, well, I
What?
said bubble butt, so that's 2 words, and and some people may
Anyway.
not think the Kardashians have bubble butts, but they do. That's a fact. Go look at them.
Why are we
Yeah.
talking about that?
I don't know, but no matter what we say or do,
I
someone is not
started
going
it.
to like it.
Yeah.
And so we're in that culture now of if you don't like it, everybody needs to stop it. I mean, it's kind of it's a little bit over the top. I'm just going to say that's my opinion. It's not a fact, but to me, I think it's a little bit over the top. And the world is not cleany weeny, and it would be
No.
very boring if we didn't have
Yeah.
a little bit of dirt in there.
Yeah. So my opinion is very much like yours. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's
It's
gotta
just,
be the truth.
you know, everybody seems to get so picky. Like, don't you have anything better to do?
Well, and this actually brings in closing this, because it's a fun conversation for sure.
Yeah.
But in this whole thing of being, and I'm not saying being racist or anything terrible, and going to the Joe Rogan of, you know, spreading misinformation or whatever. But we've gotten to a point of, it's almost like being in prohibition, you know, of like nobody can say or have, can't we have discussion instead of just like outlawing this out? It's like, it's almost like discussion and differing opinions is like, if you believe this, you're automatically this. And so we're
Well, the
actually
name
breeding
calling thing
distrust by
is
not
bad.
having conversations and doing it. There's a way to have politeness. You don't have to say you suck, like, or that sucks, like Nancy and I, but there is a way to communicate. And I feel like we're creating, like everything's going to be wishy-washy, la 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 la, I'm sorry, oh this, oh that. By the time we're done with the way the world is going, we are not allowing the truth or reality to be there. We're taking it away.
This
You know
is
what I mean?
about communication. It's
Yeah.
about communication, the level of how educated is your communication. That's really, because when you get down and dirty into the name calling, you have really hit rock bottom. And that is where you stay in people's
Oh,
minds.
so I should never have said the bubble butt thing. That was
Like, well,
No, absolutely. You know, like, because I don't think it was said in a vicious way. and
no,
I
it
think that's
wasn't
the intent.
said.
So I think it was kind of funny. And I will
Yeah.
never,
But I think we've lost the sense of humor. I mean, imagine being a comedian these days. You know, we
Oh, I
go
know,
to
you're
watch
not allowed to
comedians. If
say
you don't like
anything.
it, change the channel. If you don't like our show, change the channel. You know, really, instead of getting so
Yeah.
upset, or communicate and say, hey, you know, this and this. But I think we need to have a dialogue instead of this big out and out war on Twitter or whatever it
Well,
is.
we have freedom of speech. Along with freedom of speech does come a responsibility. And if you say something somebody else doesn't like and they let you know about it, then you have a choice to either say, I am sorry, or, well, I'm not really sorry about what
I'm
I
sorry,
said. I meant
I'm
it.
not
And
what you
this
want me
is
to be.
why. Yeah.
yeah. I've
You know, you
learned
have that
phrases
ability.
to use with family members
Mhm,
that share very different political viewpoints and share very different. And
mhm.
so sometimes, like, I love Keanu Reeves, who said, at this point in my life, if someone says 1 and 1 equals 5, I just nod, because it's not worthwhile. It's
Right.
kind of like at this point in his life. But in the same regard, when one of my family members says something that I completely disagree with, I have said, wow, I never looked at it that way before. It shows I don't agree, I don't disagree. It's just, I never looked at it that way. And it just keeps the peace. And so,
See, but that's not lying. See, that's about being smart and hearing and even acknowledging, hey, I heard what you said, which now it's like
But
everybody's
you didn't
flies off
agree
the
with it.
handle.
No, I
You
Yeah.
didn't agree.
Yeah.
You didn't disagree or agree. You just said, I
Is
heard
it
it.
worth creating the drama? It's like,
Yeah.
is
I
it
don't
worth
want
it?
to fight. I don't want to get into
Oh
fights.
God, no.
I'm looking
So
forward to
boring.
seeing my family. And I know that out of the whole family, I'm probably the one that they see as the liberal, whatever, you know, and so snowflake or whatever. But, you know, at this point, I just, when we're talking, I think all of us have agreed there's things that we feel that we can talk about, and it's safe. So we can talk about family and the kids and where we've traveled, but nothing political and nothing around gender, whatever. So if it does get into that, I've gotten a lot better at just saying, wow, I've never seen it from that angle before, right? You know, that you've told me something I hadn't heard before. Or if I've heard it a lot, I go, that's an interesting, that's an interesting observation.
Well put. That's what,
Mhm.
because you have to look at what's worth, you know, some things are worth standing up about.
yeah.
It depends. It is. And you have to
It
make that
does.
choice, because it is,
Mhm.
you know, and like you were saying, your comments back are really good because it's not lying. And it's
Yeah.
not,
Well,
it's
you
a
know,
balance, and still being part of, I heard you, I'm not going there, you know, you just say,
But the-
oh, you know, some people want they'll like, don't say this, don't talk about this. If you say, oh, I'm working on this, oh, I don't want to hear about it. And it's like, okay, like, after the interview we're doing with you today, we're doing we're recording an interview about mass shootings. So it's hard to go from little white lies to mass shootings. And then when you say the word mass shootings, everybody goes, oh, I don't want to hear about it. But we do actually need to hear about it. We need
Yes,
to,
you
and
do
it's very
need to
interesting because Nancy's
hear
reading the
about
book
it.
and I said, okay. And it's funny because we're doing this with you. I'm like, is the author doing opinion because we're arguing about mass shootings in the country? Is this opinion or is there some fact?
No,
And
it's all
she talks about,
facts.
and it's all facts. And so that's why we're doing it. And so
And it's-
I'll
hopefully
be
people
interested in
will,
hearing that,
It's an
and it
eye-opener.
has to be where the facts, not someone coming on with their political opinion
No,
about mass shootings,
it
because now
really is
that creates
important.
discourse. Yeah, we
Yeah.
wouldn't put them on
It's
the show
important.
if it wasn't for, they have to have some fact to back it up and science to back it up.
When
Yeah.
you when you put all the mass shootings that we've had in this country over the last 20 years together in one book, it is astounding. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's sad, and people really do, in my opinion, need to they need to understand and know about it and recognize it for what it is, just for their own safety, especially for their children's safety going to school, because most of the shootings have been in schools and done by juveniles, which is really, that is telling, it is telling our society there is something wrong in how our children are being raised.
And here's something going
And I
back to the
think
lies.
that's,
Kids lie. Our lies are funny. I mean, they're funny. All of us are. They're funny kids. I mean, and if kids didn't misbehave with lies and doing little bad things, it's okay. Something's really wrong.
well,
Remember
it's
the
gone from
Commodore used
that
to sit
to
there.
getting guns.
Yeah,
And
it was always be pride in, oh, what kind of naughtiness did you get up to? Because it means that you're always thinking. And my trouble in school was I was bored. Like,
Yeah.
give me something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It was absolute boredom.
Absolutely, because when she
And-
finally got a teacher that really, really started giving her higher projects to do,
Then I
longer
was
things
fine.
to study, she didn't misbehave. But as soon
No.
as she got one of those teachers who kind of wrote on the chalkboard and never really had question answer sessions, and then here comes the spitballs.
Right, but that's the thing. And so kids, if they're not having that communication and doing the little lies that parents can catch and have some kind of communication, then it gets into that bigger zone. And then what happens as adults? So good conversation, Lee.
Yeah, they always are. Like, I love talking to the two of you.
It's so
Thank you.
fun. Hopefully
It's
one day
fun.
we'll do it in person. We've got to make it
Yeah.
happen
Well,
this summer.
This summer we might be, well, who knows? That's
Yeah.
another conversation. We might be
Yeah,
in
we'll-
Savannah, we might be up in Nova Scotia. So
Oh, well, this year we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
And then we'll do our interview in person with Prosecco or something else that we want, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It'll be
Wine
fun.
time. Wine
Okay.
time talks.
Everyone, the trustarchitect.biz is the website to go to. I have that right. Yep. The trustarchitect.biz. And of course, keep up with Lee, get her books as well. That's one of the good things you can do immediately. But also tune in every third Thursday for our Trust Talk. You never know where the conversation is going to go. As you can see from today, but also Lee is a speaker and a workshop facilitator. So, and especially with what's happening in change in workplace, trust is super important, especially with folks working from home. So you may want to give her a call. So go to the trustarchitect.biz and of course, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. So thanks so much, Lee. Always
Thanks,
always
Lee.
fun.
Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay.